Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. The art scene here in Scottsdale has just blown up over the past decade. And we may not understand the importance of art in our city. You may not participate in everything, but whether you're driving down the road and you see our beautiful highways with art on them, or if you're down at the new Civic Center, everything we do is art. Behind the scenes is an amazing team by Dr. Gerd of the Scottsdale Arts. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to learn the importance of art here in our community. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Shawn Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Shawn has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Shawn at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. 7 years ago, Dr. Gerd took over as president and CEO of Scottsdale Arts. In that time, he has revamped the Civic Center. He has increased the festivals, the shows, the art around our community from outside to on the highways and more. Not only has this brought value and beauty to our city, but it's really had a huge economic impact on it that you may not understand. So I'm excited to have Dr. Gerd with us today, and he's very busy, so we're taking him in between meetings, so thank you for being here with us. But Dr. Gerd, I learned so much about you, and you and I have talked over the past few months, and I'm excited to bring this knowledge that I very much was naive to about the importance and how much art has truly affected our community. So a very basic question I'd like to start for you personally is, what does art mean to you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's such a pleasure. I was so glad to see you at Leadership Day here.
Yes.
We spent, I think, half a day just at Scottsdale Arts alone. And, for me, I've been in the arts my whole life. I come from a blue-collar family in Germany. Nobody ever went to college. But when I was 5 years old, I got a guitar in my hand and it changed my life completely.
Mm-hmm.
And it opened every door for me. And so I was a really good classical guitarist. I was fortunate to start touring professionally when I was 13. So for me, the arts, what it can do for us has been part of my life, my entire life. But also, I believe in the transformative power of the arts because it's changed my life so dramatically. So when we do what we do in the school systems, for instance, working with kids in arts education, I think it really is a game changer. So for me, arts are part of everyday life. They should permeate our lives. I think art expression is inherent to the human condition, right? I think nobody could really imagine their lives without art. And so I'm just feel incredibly lucky and privileged to be able to work in this field every day and bring great things to our community.
I don't think people truly realize how art does affect us in everything we do. Even when you talk about music, there's math in that, right? My son is not artistic in the sense of drawing and coloring and that being creative, but he loves playing an instrument and he's like a mathematician science. So for him, that's his art and escape, and truly it's so important to start kids at such a young age talking about you incorporating it into the school system. How does Scottsdale Arts work with our students here in the school system to really introduce art in all forms and aspects at a young age?
Yeah, so first of all, I totally agree with you. I'm actually a bit of a math geek. I love numbers. I'm really good with finance management and our
Okay.
organization. People always tease me about it because I think it comes sort of with the music field, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to understand Scottsdale Arts in total, but we are this big arts umbrella. I think we are the largest arts organization in the state of Arizona. We have 6 major business units, soon to be 7. And one of the units is Scottsdale Arts Learning and Innovation. With that particular branch or department, we serve a lot of kids in our school system through arts integration. So we work with school teachers to integrate the arts into sort of core curriculum achievement. So it's not just learning how to make a pretty piece, but it's also how does that then help you be a better student in math or science or English. And so this idea of STEM to STEAM, right, integrating the arts as part of the creative learning process to become to make students just achieve more and do better is really part of our thinking. We worked this year with about 20,000 students
Wow.
in 29 district schools with about 150,000 contact hours. So the impact is really just dramatic. And that is managed by a team of 6 people here at Scottsdale Arts. But there's much more. We also work with lifelong learning. We believe that people should evolve and being engaged in creative endeavor throughout their lives. So we work with the senior population throughout the city in our senior centers and libraries through classes, for instance, that do Alzheimer's and dementia prevention and really encourage people to remain active and creative throughout their lives. We do exhibits throughout the city in various libraries and so forth. So all that is part of what we consider lifelong learning and engagement really across the community.
And I love that because you start at the elementary age, you work up until, our retirement senior citizen age. And there is something, and that we say we go full circle. It's amazing to see what these different age demographics working together can create as well, in the similarity of art, and just brings us together in that sense and find a commonality, which I always appreciate.
I grew up in a home in Germany with 4 generations under one roof, which is not so uncommon for us, right, in the old world. But I also think oftentimes when we look at the happiest societies, they tend to be multi-generational, right? So when young and old come together and do something together, I think it benefits everybody, right? And that's certainly part of our belief system here at Scottsdale Arts. But then you also mentioned, and this is another part, one of our other departments here is Scottsdale Public Art. So all the fountains across Scottsdale, all the beautiful large-scale sculptures, from the Love sculpture at Civic Center to those massive horsehead sculptures on Indian Bend Wash, to the 6-mile-long colorful highway art on the 101. All that is part of Scottsdale Arts, 160 plus magnificent pieces. And just think about the next time you drive to work or drive to get your groceries, you probably drive past a few of these pieces. And every time you do, it probably subliminally makes you smile a little or makes you feel like you live in this beautiful city. I mean, there are lots of reasons why Scottsdale is beautiful, but public art is one of the big drivers in that. And we measured last year through a tracking app that approximately 4 million people over the course of the year spend at least 10 minutes in the vicinity of these public artworks in Scottsdale.
Wow.
Just think about the impact that has on people's quality of life.
That's huge. Listen,
that's what the arts accomplish.
Something I learned about our public art the love sign is one of 5 in the world. We have the largest one. Is that correct that I remember? And I'm fact checking myself and showing how much I paid attention in class last week. I did not know that because everyone knows the Philly one, I feel like.
Yeah, this is the largest iteration of the Love sculpture, and this one is the only one in this color scheme, red and blue. And it was bought in 1998 for $250,000, now through our Percent for the Arts program, and is now valued at $5.5 million.
That's crazy.
So the arts also make a really good financial investment for cities and citizens, I think.
Let's talk about that. The economic impact that art comes. People see art and they think it's just, oh, you spend so much money, now it just sits here. It's just a waste of time, money, and space. That's actually not. I mean, you just said how many hours people were spending, when they were coming in town, especially for our season. What is the economic impact that the arts has on our community?
Yeah. There are lots of multipliers floating around this world, and I'm going to use some of them, but I want to first break it down a little bit. I believe that there is a primary, secondary, and tertiary return on investment in the arts.
Okay. The
primary return is pretty straightforward. You give us we employ a lot of people. My staff is about 185 people across our various divisions. And those people all live here in Scottsdale or close to Scottsdale. They all go out and spend money. We employ outside contractors like electricians and so forth. So we're part of the very direct economic fabric of our city. There's that. Then there's the secondary return on investment. When we have a Monday night with a sold out house, all the bars and restaurants around us will do really, really well that evening as well, obviously. Mm-hmm. So it creates more revenue to other businesses, and it creates more tax revenue back to the city. Roughly for every dollar invested in the arts, we estimate that there's about an $18 return on investment into the greater community because
That's
people
huge.
Buy a drink in a hotel, buy a meal. And beyond that, there's about a $3 or $4 per dollar invested return to sales tax basis of communities. So that is already pretty significant, right? But the most important part of economic return on investment, I think, is the tertiary. It's the least tangible, but I think the most significant. Most people don't want to relocate their company or live and stay after finishing college in a place that doesn't have anything to offer. Mm-hmm. I think the arts are sort of parks and rec for our soul. And most cities, most successful communities feature a very robust offering in art and culture because that's what successful cities use to attract and retain their best and brightest. So imagine Scottsdale without these cultural offerings. I don't know that we would be headquartered as so many new and up-and-coming startup businesses and successful companies, or the tech sector. I think it would be much harder to retain our brightest students here to enter the workforce here and stay in Scottsdale. So cultural offerings really feed this economic ecosystem that we're all connected through. And I think there is a huge that's a huge part of the benefit that we provide to cities. And if you think it was the most successful cities in the country in the last few years, last 2 decades, Austin comes to mind, Nashville, Chattanooga, some others, all cities where art and culture has played a very central role as part of their reimagination.
I never really thought about that, but you're right. I mean, Austin is huge and it has been growing instrumentally, and it all is. It's music and art, South by Southwest, all of that, Nashville as well, all from the art scene. You had, I'm going to circle back to kind of the beginning. You talked about the 6, almost 7 different sides of the business aspect. I don't think people realize how much goes in. I mean, you said you had 180 employees yourself. Talk about those different business impacts to kind of go along with the economic impact we were just talking about.
That's great. So yeah, Scottsdale Arts is a little hard to understand because we're a big umbrella.
Yeah.
We have a big tent. And if I use the tent reference, we are a big tent with a 7-ring circus under it, right? So, currently 6, soon 7 rings. So
and you're the circus leader. Where's your big hat?
Yeah, well, I don't have the hair for a big hat. There's the Museum of Contemporary Art, or SMOCA, small but very fine nationally accredited museum here in the heart of Scottsdale. There's, of course, our new Civic Center with this wonderful 3 outdoor stages that we built coming out of the pandemic.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, it's a fabulous set of venues, and we'll talk a little bit more about the events coming up out there, or the events we just executed there. We're in the heart of our 2nd season with the fully reopened Civic Center. Then, of course, there is Scottsdale Public Art, we mentioned, Scottsdale Arts Learning Innovation, all the work in the school system. One of the biggest pieces, even though people only see it once a year for 10 days, but it draws over 100 and some thousand people, is Canal Convergence. A lot of people probably think it's just sort of a city thing, right? But again, somebody has to do it. So Canal Convergence is one of our 6 business branches and one of our events. It is 10 days on the waterfront in November. A fantastic free festival to our community, all art that lights up over the canal, in the canal, on the side of the canal. And it's just a wonderful family-friendly thing that brings everybody together. And as I said, our statistics show that we typically have somewhere around 120, 130,000 visitors in the last couple of years. So it's a pretty special thing for the city.
I know. So we go to Canal Convergence every year. My kids love it, and they're elementary school age. But last year it was really cool. So we went, and there was a bunch of friends of mine that went all adult night. We're sitting there, we're playing with art. The artist was there watching us, right? And it was so cool because she just was part of the audience. And then she finally came up to us. She's like, "Y'all have been here a while. I've really appreciated you admiring. I'm the artist." And we were just floored. But she was from out of town, right? So you talk about the economic impact. She was coming in town. Her family and friends were coming in town. It brought people from all over. And it was amazing to hear from her and really learn even more about the piece we were looking at and the interaction of it that we weren't aware of, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Canal Convergence is now a national destination event. We set it up to become that. Recently at Civic Center, we added another really magnificent event we call Dreamy Draw Festival. It's an Americana sort of alt country music festival. It draws probably close to 10,000 people over the course of a weekend. And we saw in our 2nd year, this past November with Dreamy Draw, we saw that when we looked at our event sales, more than 40% of the visitors to that event, of the patrons for that long weekend, were out of state.
Wow.
Heavy from the Pacific Northwest, because if you're ever to Pacific Northwest in November, the
It's
idea
not pretty.
of some amazing music in a sunny desert environment is pretty appealing, right? So lots from there, some from the East Coast, from all over the place, really, Colorado, Texas, etc. So let's say if 40% of our visitors, so roughly 4,000 people, came from out of state, that's 2,000 couples all occupying a hotel room, all going out to have dinner here and so forth. That's a pretty powerful thing, I think, right?
I totally agree, yeah.
So absolutely central to our fabric. And of course, it's easier to see the enormous economic impact that events have when you go to, say, spring training or Barrett Jackson or the Phoenix Open, because you have this density of crowds. But just think about this. We have some really big festivals like Canal Convergence or Dreamy Draw. But more importantly, what we do, In this fiscal year, so July of last year through June of this year, we will execute some 720 events, shows, concerts, performances, exhibitions, workshops, etc. 720. So twice a day, basically, we do
Yeah.
something that brings people together and gets people to mill about and spend money and experience something to share together. We reach about 800,000 people over the course of a year.
That's
So
crazy.
so it's more decentralized, right? But it is something every day. And so even during the summer when things are really slow here, we have so many events that activate things, etc. And so I think that is an added benefit, that there's this constant level of engagement that really plays a big role in our economic fabric as well.
Well, that kind of led me to my next question. You guys are doing so much to incorporate the Center for Performing Arts as well as the Civic Center, and really work more with these festivals, these music, the shows, all of that to kind of work in. Talk about how this new joint venture has really doubled to almost two to 2.5 events a day in our city, and how that is helping not only them but bring awareness to the importance of you all in our community.
So the first, I should give you a disclaimer. I think if you talk to my staff, why we're doing so much nowadays and how we've grown so much so quickly, they would probably point to me and say it's because the
He's
guy
crazy.
crazy. Exactly. So that's
But you're the
the
circus
obvious.
leader. Doesn't it take a crazy person to be a circus leader?
Fair enough. I think so. So maybe I should get myself a big hat and a whip or something. So there's that, right? And that's probably true. But I also feel incredibly fortunate because I tell you, I enjoy the sometimes burden but often privilege of making decisions and talking for a living. But it is my team that really is extraordinary. What the lift they perform every day, the amount of work they do. And just to give you a little context, it's sometimes hard to understand. And it seems like right now, and there are a lot of people questioning sort of federal workers and their efficiency and so forth. Let me share with you how it is in a nonprofit. My team doesn't know 9 to 5. When we have in high season, right, a time like this right now, we literally have shows just about every day, and that sometimes 2 or 3 events a day. That means our tech team starts at 8 in the morning, then they load in, they prep the hall, and they load in, then they work their tails off, then they break down the show at the end of the night and do some perfunctory resets so they can start over again the next day. They leave here at 11:30 at night, they go home. And show up the next day, and it's rinse and repeat. And sometimes this happens 12, 13 days in a row before they get a day off, right? And then, of course, we give them liberal time off so they can recoup and manage and navigate this. And we try to pay our team as well as one can pay in the nonprofit sector, because I think it is important to take care of our staff, our most important resource here. But if you see the kind of work ethic that my team has, all of our teams have every day of the week, and how without question they show up to get the job done, it's really very, very special. And so I feel incredibly fortunate that they have been willing to step up and grow to the degree that we have. We've been very fortunate raising a lot of money. So in the future, we will also have some money to build new infrastructure, new venues for us, for the city here, which is going to be really exciting as well. But you're absolutely right. One of the biggest and most interesting sort of evolutions has been that when I started, we sold tickets November through March to the Center for Performing
Yeah.
Arts. And when I asked why, I said, well, we sell tickets to snowbirds, and that's when they're here. And then I sort of scratched my head and said, well, what about the other 4 million people in the
Right. That are
valley?
here year round
Like,
and
like,
suffer
like,
and make
like
it.
you and I mean, we just don't just pick up for 6 months. And so as we evolved our programming, all of a sudden we started selling. So now we present shows mid-September through late June,
That's
basically. And we have
awesome.
about 6 weeks of reset in the summer. And by the way, it's important to point out that the Center for Performing Arts has a very big birthday coming up. On November 1st, we have a big gala celebrating its 50th anniversary,
That is
which is
crazy.
really amazing, actually. So we're very excited about that.
That's
But then when
amazing.
we built the outdoor stages, which, let's face it, we live in a very casual environment. We live in a beautiful place where October through May, we don't get a lot of rainouts, right?
Yeah.
So building outside just made a lot of sense. And so starting these new partnerships that allowed us to do things like the Celebrity Wine and Spirits Fest recently with some fabulous people, from Dusty Baker to the Bella Twins to some famous actors being here pouring their own wine and spirits. to the Streamy Draw Festival, to a big Dia de los Muertos celebration out here at the end of October. All those things, some ticketed, many free for the community, from our Sun and Sound series every Sunday
Yep.
afternoon during spring and so forth. All those things mean that this second season outside, we will have about 86 events and festivals and performances between October and May
That's crazy.
on the Civic Center campus, and it brings together about 160,000 patrons.
That's
In,
amazing. And
it's a really extraordinary thing, actually.
it is, and I love that because we are here year round and we matter too. It's not just the snowbirds. One of my most favorite events is coming up in a few weeks, the Scottsdale Jazz Festival. You and I have been working hard on that together. Talk about this big festival because this is one that we're trying to grow here, and we are a huge music scene here. You being a classical guitarist yourself, what are you excited about for Scottsdale Jazz Week, and what can we expect?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a huge jazz lover and aficionado, and I play, electric and
Yeah.
blues jazz a little bit as well. I'm not terribly good at it, but it is what it is.
Are we going to
But
see you up on stage?
oh hell no, you don't want me to. But you'll see me in the audience.
Okay.
I'm super excited about the festival. We've been working. I should first say this Jazz Fest also celebrates International Jazz Day, which
Yep.
happens just a few days later. And we recently just got a signed proclamation from the mayor of Scottsdale that on April 30, we celebrate International Jazz Day here in Scottsdale. The festival is just the Saturday prior to that. So it is our outward big celebration of International Jazz Day. Wonderful, wonderful thing. But first, I want to share with everybody that this festival, of course, is the endeavor for many years now of a singular gentleman who has been pushing this along through thick and thin. His name is Doc Jones. He's a wonderful, wonderful partner in this, and really has put his heart and soul in this event for many years now. And we've always supported it as a venue and with some other staff support. But this year we took a big step forward and actually outright partnered with Doc on the event, so we can give him more support to make this and grow this into really a hopefully nationally recognized jazz festival over the next few years. So we're super excited. Saturday, April 26th. It starts, I think, at 1 o'clock and goes into the evening hours all the way to 10 p.m. There's a lineup of 6 fabulous acts throughout the day. Our headliner late at night is R&R featuring Rick Braun and Richard Elliott, a dynamic duo of sax and guitar, really fabulous performers. I think it's going to be a real party atmosphere at that point. Before they take the stage, we have this band Turning Point, which was in the 90s and early 2000s a major sort of fusion jazz band here in the Valley, really with some national acclaim. And they are, for the first time, reuniting for this event that weekend. So not to be missed. It's really a sort of a local all-star lineup. But we're also venturing into the Latin side of things because I think nothing gets you in the party mood as much as a little bit of salsa, cumbia spirit. So I think one of the things I'm looking forward most to is Carlos Rivas with this orchestra featuring Lucito Rosario, a fabulous, fabulous Mexican singer. I'm really excited about that set. And of course, as I think every year we have Doc Jones' own daughter, Naya Jones, with her band take the stage and giving us some great old school R&B and jazz. She's New Orleans based. She really knows jazz. So from the inside out, it's in her soul, it's in her heart and her blood, and much more. So it'll be a fabulous day. You can do it sitting on the lawn on your own blanket with a fairly low ticket price, or you can do it up as a VIP with table service and be all swank for the day and enjoy yourself and dress up a bit and have a drink, have a dance. I think it's going to be just a phenomenal event.
It is. And I love these kind of festivals too. Just, like you said, you can go VIP down to just bring a blanket. There is a pricing point for everyone. And I love it too because we're really trying to incorporate more of there's plenty of high school jazz bands around here and college jazz bands. It's not just an older generation thing. We listen to a lot of jazz in my family during dinner time. Because to me, it just is a calming music and a fun music to cook to, and my kids love it. So we've incorporated it into our family as well. And it's a beautiful time of year to do it. So I'm really excited, and I love bringing this more to our community.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In talking to Doc over the last few months and putting this together, I've been often reminded that jazz used to be the music of this country, right? In the
Yeah.
30s and 40s, jazz was our popular music. Jazz was what populated the dance halls. Tens of thousands of people came together on the weekend to dance to jazz,
Yeah.
right? And then when bebop came and jazz became a bit more cerebral, the audiences became smaller and it moved into studios and clubs and so forth and evolved into something else. But at the core, jazz, especially the kind of jazz we're presenting here, jazz and all of its iteration from Latin to fusion to smooth jazz, all those bits and pieces still find a very broad audience. And of course, we're touching on R&B and blues and soul in this entire mix as well.
Hmm.
So I think in this package for our jazz festival, there's really something for everyone. And I think it really is sort of a universally a music that brings us together as a people, as a community. And you know, I dare anybody try to sit still when you have a great jazz band on stage. I don't think it's possible. I think you have to just get up and shake your tail feather a little bit.
Listen, so I wasn't on camera, but when you started mentioning the Latin part, I just started dancing in my seat, and there's no music even playing. So like it does, it just kind of hits you differently.
Yeah. Chair dancing is the best. Yeah.
Right, I know. You've been here going on 7-8 years. What does the future look like for you? You've already accomplished so much in you're such a short tenure. What are your goals now for the Scottsdale art scene here?
Well, it's very kind of you to say that. So actually, Monday, 2 days ago, was my 7th anniversary
It's
here in this
crazy.
job.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and thank you. And I think it actually makes me, strangely enough, the second longest serving CEO of this organization. My friend Frank Jacobson's been here for 16 years in this role, I think, a couple of decades ago. But I feel very fortunate to have landed here. I have a board that is uniquely united and 100% behind us, and just absolutely a joy to work with. And that's not something that we take for granted in the nonprofit sector. My staff is amazing. We got these wonderful venues in a city that I think is just well run and successful and has a great deal of appeal with high quality of life. And so I always remind myself, and I really genuinely feel that way, as much progress as we've made already. Because when I started, we had 3 business units. Now we have 6.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to launch another a new campus here as a career development residency campus for artists. So it'll be our 7th division or department. But I keep thinking we've really just gotten started. I mean, we're really just at the beginning, right? There is so much more to come. We're going to build a museum's expansion. We're going to add a small theater to our campus. We're going to take over this other new campus I mentioned. I think there is a chance longer term to build a really large scale performing arts venue here in Scottsdale that could serve the entire valley as a new really sort of destination venue for the Southwest. That's a goal I've been pushing for years, and it's now resonated with city leadership, at least to some degree. And I think we're currently looking at different scenarios and venues and feasibilities. So I think over the next decade, that is certainly something that's doable. And I often think about, you know, Scottsdale is a beautiful and luxurious city. It is a destination city. It is a well-managed city. It's affluent. We are in a metro area that has seen extraordinary growth. And as such, I think we should be ambitious about the future of art and culture here. And I think we should become the next Austin or Nashville here in the Valley. And Scottsdale can become sort of the next Santa Fe, whatever you want to call it. You know, people travel there for the Santa Fe Opera or go to Red Rocks in Colorado just to see a show. And I think we have the same opportunities to create more and more of these destination cultural facilities and events. That is something that I'd like to work on and help with over the next decade or so, as long as I still feel up to the task, and hopefully then also have something interesting to hand over to the next person to take us to the next level. So I'm incredibly excited about that, and I think there's just lots in store.
Well, I'm excited to be here along for the ride, so let me know. My last question, and I'm going to hold you to, you cannot have an answer that has to do with the Scottsdale Arts. That's my only requirement for you. So what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
My favorite Scottsdale vibe. I'll tell you. The other day, I was at a spring training game,
Mm-hmm.
and I sat as a rabid San Francisco Giants fan in the middle of a cluster of Padres fans. Of course, they were giving me a relentlessly hard time. And we were teasing back and forth. I felt a little smug at the end of the game because the Giants had a really good day that day. And what I love most about Scottsdale and the vibe that we create here is that after the game, my wife and I strolled out with this group of people that we never met before, and inevitably strolled towards Old Town together and found ourselves at Rusty's upstairs having a bit of bourbon and chit-chatting for the next hour or so.
Isn't that amazing? I love how it went.
Yeah, the serendipity, you meet random people that you probably would never meet otherwise. They work in a different field, they live in a different place, they have a different sort of life experience. And here we are connecting as people. I think in a world that can seem more and more sort of split apart, right? When we look at our social media feeds and either here or there. And I think at the core, as people, when we encounter one another, just as people, we are so much more alike than we're different.
Yeah.
And we share so much more in common than we feel differently about. And so moments like this, I think Scottsdale provides lots of them, and that is my favorite Scottsdale vibe.
I love that because I feel the same way, and that's why I do this podcast, is try to show how much we have in common during these difficult times and stuff. So I love that. And I love that you go from like smack talking each other to like having a drink and laughing and becoming friends. Exactly. Those are my kind of favorite people.
As it should be. That's exactly right. It's either that or drunken karaoke that brings you together with people you've never met before, right? So it is some of the best things there are.
I love it. Dr. Gerd, thank you to you. And like you've said a dozen times this episode, thank you to your team, right? It is a team effort. We all have an amazing one behind us, and I do appreciate you guys and the beauty that you bring to Scottsdale and the international vibe and stuff like that. So great job. And we do take advantage of it, my family and I, and it makes a difference to us and living in this community too. So great job.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have the calendar of events. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust, and that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Go get your tickets for Taste, happening at the Scottsdale Civic Center on April 12th. I will look forward to seeing you all there. And for anyone, you might want to wear spandex because it's going to be a night full of eating and delicious food. So why not? Be comfortable and enjoy yourself. Scottsdale Jazz Festival is coming up on April 26th. Get your tickets. It's a beautiful weekend full of beautiful music, Latin jazz, and lots of fun. Family-friendly event. Tickets start at $55 all the way up to VIP. So there's plenty of room for everyone and every ticket range. Also, Tour de Scottsdale is happening this weekend around WestWorld and all over Scottsdale, obviously. So please be careful with all the bikers out there and pay attention. There will be road closures. But if you just enjoy like a good team camaraderie, go out and watch them because it's actually a lot of fun and they love having the community out there to cheer them on. So I encourage it. Also happening on April 11th, Friday, April 11th at the Museum of the West is the Desert Stages Masquerade Gala. It's a fundraiser to help find them a new location here in Scottsdale as they are no longer in this fashion square. So go out and be there. Tickets start at $200. You're going to have a wonderful evening in the Museum of the West. Happy hour, hors d'oeuvres, drinks, and more will be had. I will be there supporting them as I love the arts. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.